All right, folks, here with you on the live stream. Just double check and make sure everybody can see and hear us okay. And we will see the weather coverage as we've got an intense line of storms moving into probably southern portions of Ford County, Iroquois County, now moving into northeastern corner of Champaign and then northern Vermilion County as well. Mainly a wind damage threat, maybe some hail associated with this as well. So as more and more of you kind of jump in here, let us know if you can see and hear us okay. And that, sorry about that, folks. Throw the microphone on there. Here's Michael always helping me out, always telling me, I got your microphone in your pocket, bud. All right, here we go. We're back on here with you live once again. Hopefully you can see and hear us okay now that I'm wearing the microphone. We are tracking some of that severe weather for you here at this time. And again, let us know what you're seeing possibly in your area. Let us also know where you are tuned in from here this afternoon as we track it's a little thin line, but it is quite intense when it does move through, and you're looking at it there. So there is the view with Gibson City, and you can see we've been watching kind of up that way because we have had the storms already kind of packing a punch in terms of the severe weather threat here with that damaging winds and a little bit of hail. Boy, I got to tell you, some of those areas up to the north, they got hit hard in the Chicagoland area, northern Indiana. And man, they had some 90 to 100 mile an hour winds. Now, we're not seeing that with this, but I got to tell you, they're in Paxton. You're probably getting a pretty good little storm there. And that runs from Paxton all the way over to just north of Rankin. You can see a little hail core there, Wellington. So severe thunderstorm warning there. So you've got Prairie Green, you got Wellington, Fountain Creek, Goodwine, moving into Rankin, Clarence, over the Paxton area right now. Just move through Loda, Elliott, and there's Gibson City. So that's the warning right now. The rest of us, just to show everybody, because the first question is always, what about my town? What about where I'm at? As you can see here, there's nothing in any other locations right now where the severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. It is extreme southern Ford, Iroquois County, the northeastern corner of Champaign County, and then kind of the northern northeastern half of Vermilion County as that storm comes through. If you're getting any hail, let us know the size. The size of the hail is what is important to us, so we kind of know what these storms have. We can pass that information along to the National Weather Service. These storms are moving to the southeast. Here's a little bit of a movement on them. Get you a little bit of a path there as they move to the southeast. I'm going to look up what they're kind of warning this for. It looks like 60 mile an hour winds and quarter size hail as that storm moves to the southeast at about 35 miles an hour. So what we can do is come over here and we can basically just draw it out. And we're just going to say, all right on the leading edge of our storm complex here. And we bring this down to the southeast at about 35 or so miles an hour. And these are the times of arrival. If you're watching us there, Ludlow, it's going to be on top of you here in just a few minutes. Down the line, you can see there's Penfield, possibly towards the Bismarck area in about, what is that, 25, 30 minutes or so, as this line moves to the southeast. So the severe thunderstorm warning in effect mainly for some hail and some strong winds. Looks like the strongest part of this is probably up there maybe between Paxton to Rankin and the Wellington area right now. Not as strong, I would say, towards the Gibson City area, but we are seeing some winds within this that could pose a wind damage threat. So that's what we're looking at here. So it's going to read up on some of the chats here with you guys because we've got you here with us. All right, just started pouring in Gibson City, thunder and lightning in Rankin, rain going the wrong direction in Gibson City, says Courtney. Nickel-size hail in Roberts, thunder in Fisher, thunder in Ludlow. Villa Grove in the house, loud thunder in Milford. Okay, so I'll be reading your guys' reports, so let us know what you get. And we can help pass that along to our crews and our partners at the National Weather Service. So severe thunderstorm warning right now. These are just severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't have anything in terms of tornado with this, but it's a thin line. I call it a pencil thin line. It's, not really wide, but the severe weather threat is going to be there. All right, let's see here. I'm going to come back to our Gibson City camera because we just had that storm kind of come through, and you can kind of see the heavy rainfall. Maybe we'll move the camera around a little bit, pan it around. And you can see that rain that is coming down. So this is kind of looking off a little bit more to the east now. So heavy rain that just came through Gibson City. So severe thunderstorm warning continues there. Now we're also going to be watching our camera in Danville for our folks there in Vermilion County. Point that's looking up to the north. And so we'll have eyes on that storm once it gets in there. You can almost start to see a little bit of that shelf cloud that is starting to form. So that'll be moving into northern portions of Vermilion County. All right, we'll bring you back over to the radar now. So we are watching this. Looks like I got some hail in Paxton. Seeing some reports there. We'll come back here to the warned area, severe thunderstorm warning. So let's just we'll just go down. How about we just do a track right through all of the areas that are under the warning. And you can see the heavier stuff there in Proctor. It's actually letting up a little bit there in Gibson City, just southwest of Elliott. We've got a storm there. And again, that's going to run right along Highway 9. And then you get over here to Highway 9, and you get there between Elliott and Paxton, a little bit more of a hail core that's showing up there along Highway 115. So Paxton, just reporting some of that hail. You folks kind of telling us about that. And then let's just keep going. It's almost as if we're just tracking Highway 9 here, right? Along Highway 9 would be a rough stretch to be traveling on. Looks like some hail cores there from Clarence over to Rankin. Again, this moving to the south, so it's going to head down 49. And boy, it looks like Rankin. I'd be curious about Rankin and hail. Anybody in the Rankin area? Let me know what your hail size might be in Rankin. And then also Hoopeston. We're getting to you guys here as we're doing our little tour along the radar. But let me know if you're in Rankin, because that little purple color there is indicative of some hail. And then definitely here at Hoopeston. You start getting some of those white colors. And that shows us that there's probably some hail in there. Again, the size of the hail would help. You don't have to go out, obviously, in the middle of the hailstorm and go measure it. It'll still be there. But the two areas I'd be curious about would be Rankin and Hoopeston for hail sizes. So probably the wind's picking up there. Rankin, Hoopeston. Rankin and Hoopeston, you probably got some good wind and some of that hail that's just coming into town now. So a nice hail core there. Buckley had pea-size hail. Pea-size in Hoopeston so far. Hail bigger than a marble in Roberts. Hail in Buckley. Can I just tell you guys something about using the term marble-size hail? So this is kind of, we hear marble-size hail a lot. The problem with saying marble-size hail is we can't get a good gauge of that. If you've ever had marbles, right, they come in different sizes. It's not a marble is not uniform in size. There's a lot of different sizes. So when we say marble size hail, we don't always understand fully the actual size of it. But a dime is always the same size. A nickel is always the same size. A quarter is always the same size. A baseball is always the same size. So we use objects that have no ambiguity when it comes to the size of them. So marble size hail, I would refrain from using that term, because if you've ever bought marbles, they come in a lot of different sizes. Okay, so just a little bit of tidbit of information there for you. Not an official term we like to use, because again, it's hard. It's just not uniform. I mean, very simple as that. Okay. Here's your hail coming through. There's hail in Elliott. Hard rain there in East Lynn. So yeah, I would just be curious if Hoopeston, if you guys got anything bigger than pea size. So this is going to be coming towards the Middle Fork Forest Preserve, coming there. Rossville, you guys may be next with this. So there's Danville, just to show you. Danville's technically not in the warning. Bismarck, you are. Rossville, you are. Potomac, you are. Penfield. Collison, you're right on the edge. How about we take a look at the lightning? Let's see what the lightning's doing here. Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of lightning. A lot of lightning, as to be expected. So that is lightning over the last 15 minutes. And let's just do a count on our storms that are just right here in our viewing area. Oops, let me do that again. Sorry about that. We're going to clear that off. Do one more time. Count all the lightning with the storms here. 290 lightning strikes. Now we clear that, and now I just want to look at the lightning over the last 3 minutes. So the most recent lightning, and there was almost kind of two pockets there of intense lightning. The one there near Rankin, and then our one that is over here, right over Hoopeston. So these are lightning strikes only over the last 3 minutes. And when we look at that, we count those up. 57 lightning strikes over the last 3 minutes. So that is what? A lightning strike every 3 seconds? So we're watching that carefully. All right. Pouring with hail and wind in Hoopeston. Pea-size hail Paxton. Pea-size hail Hoopeston. So far, yeah, there's Renee. Said lightning about every 2 seconds. So yeah, every two or 3 seconds there is what we're kind of looking at with that lightning count. So look how thin the line. I mean, it's really. I mean, you look at this. Is it about 5 miles across? So it's not even that wide. East Lynn, Hoopeston to Cheneyville. So there's Rossville. You're probably next, right along Route 1. Potomac, Henning, Alvin, Bismarck. We're going to watch you guys as that storm comes in. Heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning, and a little bit of hail so far. As I look at it, I'm just going to peer into the winds. There might be some winds over there near Rankin, southwest of Rankin now. Let me look at this. We're going to switch things over to our velocity. So where you see the reds and the greens, it allows us to maybe kind of just peek in there a little bit more on what the winds are doing. And what I want to do is we're going to look at the Lincoln radar. So this was that, see that, those little pixels right there, brighter, almost kind of like pink color there, showing maybe some stronger winds there. Let us know if you had any damage or anything. Trees down. A lot of lightning north of Rossville. Heavy rain, Cheneyville. All right, so yeah, Rantoul, you're technically not in the warning. You're going to get that storm on you here in just a bit. Gifford, probably the same thing. When I look at it, it does look like maybe the strongest part of the storm is just a little bit here, more over here, right? See those purple colors? That's where it seems to be just a little bit more intense. All of this moves to the south and east. Here's the loop. It's going to clip Fisher, Rantoul, Penfield, and then push its way into Vermilion County there and into Indiana, Warren and Fountain County. Danville, we'll see if it makes it to you, if it just kind of continues. You probably get something out of this, but right now, strongest part of this storm probably is in the northern portion of Vermilion County, right on the Iroquois-Vermilion County line, Hoopeston, Rossville, knocking on your doorstep as we speak. Good, folks. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy, we're in the studio here with you. It's 2:16 p.m. We're telling you about the severe weather that's moving through. So far, we're not talking about, damaging winds that have been confirmed, but there may be some gusts in there, 60 miles an hour. There's also reports of hail. I've not heard a quarter-size hail report yet, which is good, but let us know if you get anything. We've got some of you that are watching on our live stream. We're streaming on Facebook, on X, on the WCA3 News Facebook pages, my Facebook page, Jacob's Facebook page, and on the WCA3 Weather app. You can find us on there as well. You can scroll down to the bottom of the app, and you'll see live, and you can watch it on there. So just always the heads up on where you can find us. Try to get you in as many different spots as we can. All right, thundering and rain tools, small hail in Hoopeston. Route 9 flooding. Let me see. We're gonna scroll back here. Route 9 flooding by the Masonic Lodge in Hoopeston. So be cautious there. Thanks for that report. Okay, some flooding, South Dixie Highway. A little bit of hail, north end of town. Heavy rain now heading towards Rankin. Yep, there we go. I'm not seeing anything in terms of rotation on any of these storms. Nothing has me going, whoa, look out for a tornado. I don't have that concern right now. This is really heavy rainfall, maybe some winds there. There's a little pocket there of some winds, maybe southeast of Rankin now. So that may be heading close to between Potomac and Rossville. As all of this moves to the southeast. So here's that little pocket of winds right here. So essentially, this right here, where these little pinks are, that's where we may have some of those stronger winds in there. And then that may kind of dive to the southeast. So here's what I mean is maybe this goes kind of that way. So between Rossville, Potomac, Henning, if that is kind of the heaviest pocket of winds, that's where you might have, some 60 mile an hour winds in there. So we'll have to watch that. And that could kind of move a little bit. Maybe that heads a little bit more towards Rossville. We'll just have to kind of watch that on the next scan. And for those of you watching elsewhere, not a whole lot else going on. Now, does this get into Champaign? I don't know. They would have to kind of back build a little bit more to the south and west. What we can do is look at our camera in Danville as we peer off to the north, and you can start to see a little bit of that shelf cloud. Leading edge of that thunderstorm complex, that's moving into northern Vermilion County that we are witnessing right now. Limbs down in Rankin on the main road. All right, so let me know there in Rankin how big of limbs. And so I can pass that along to our friends at the National Weather Service. You know how big those limbs are. Are you talking, pretty big ones or some smaller ones? You just let us know. All right, there's the view in Danville. Again, you're going to see that shelf cloud. If you're in Danville and you want to see that shelf cloud, you could peek out there and look to your north and see that kind of coming in. It'll be a close call there for Danville. Right now, if I look at this here and we just kind of, do one of these numbers, that's probably the general direction of where that's strongest. I mean, you can clearly tell that part of the storm is stronger there in northern Vermilion County as opposed to maybe there in northern Champaign County. So the strongest part of that may go just to the northeast of Danville. So there's the loop. So you're going to have, some winds on the leading edge of that start to come. Yeah, those winds still look pretty good there, just northwest of Rossville. I think Rossville, you might get some of these winds. So let me know if you're watching in Rossville. I think that's going to start to pick up here. All right, let's do this. We'll clear that off. And then we're going to come back so we can look at that little pocket of wind and show you exactly where that is. It's right there. It just kind of stands out. It's right there. So this area right here, these are the strongest winds. So they're right over North 770 East Road, and basically they're 3550 North Road, and that will be your strongest winds right now. So south of East Lynn, but that is kind of sliding southeast, so that may put it there on the west side of Rossville here before too long. Anybody in Rankin? If I saw something there about some limbs down, so if you know the size of those limbs, let me know. But I think Rossville, you're about to get hit by a little pocket of some stronger winds. I just got an updated radar scan, and it's wanting to put that there, folks. So I think you may have just a little pocket of some strong winds, Rossville. If you're watching in Rossville, I think your winds are going to pick up here in just a couple of minutes, if they haven't already. The new radar scan puts that little pocket of strong winds right about there where I just circled. So I look at that on another system of mine. So look out there in Rossville. Rantoul, storm gear ready to come in there. Gifford, it's going to run right along 136. The strongest part of our storm looks to be just northwest of Rossville right now. Shout out again to where you guys are watching from on the live stream. Once again, I'm Kevin Lighty, WCA3 Chief Meteorologist, 2:24 p.m. Tuesday afternoon, tracking the severe weather for you, letting you know what's going on with our storms here that are powerful. They've been pretty powerful for most of the day here, especially up to the north, Chicagoland area. Gary, Indiana had a 99-mile-an-hour wind gust earlier. I mean, just wild stuff. So those were some of the earlier storms. We're not seeing that kind of wind, thankfully, with this, but there might be some 60-mile-an-hour winds in that. That's coming right towards the Rossville area here right now, folks. So watching that. All right, Hoopeston, Rantoul, Roberts, Danville, Wellington. Again, let us know if you have any damage reports, trees down, power lines down, or hail sizes. Bring you back over here to the reflectivity. So there's our storm. So just kind of clipping northeastern Champaign County. So that is the updated radar scan there. So there's Dewey to Rantoul. Couple minutes, it'll be on you. Same in Gifford, right along 136. But the strongest storm with the strongest winds is coming into Rossville as we speak. And then, yeah, look at that hail core. That's over into Indiana now. So I would say the most concerning thing is going to be this storm right here over Rossville when it comes to the wind threat. All right, looks like Summer is in Rossville. So she'll have to let us know which she gets there because those winds are probably on top of you right now. Severe thunderstorm warning continues there for northern Vermilion County. Let's come back here. We'll take a look at our camera view. And there's that little shelf cloud kind of peeking out there. We're panning around just a little bit more. Maybe we'll look a little bit more northeast. Of course, the building is in our way there, but you can see that that's the long line that stretches just all along that area in northern Vermilion County. As we pan it across, looking to the northeast and now to the north. More storms tonight. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of our new models here to see if it's kind of showing us anything. There might be some more storms again tonight, kind of similar to what we've had the last few nights. But I think tomorrow may be a little better chance for more of us to get on the storms here in central Illinois. At least that's where the models are looking. So we just kind of have to get through this little round that we're looking at here right now. Then hopefully things can calm down. Come back over to the radar here just to show everybody else what's going on. There's nothing happening in a lot of our areas. This stuff over here to Bloomington, it's a whole lot of nothing so far. Could it strengthen? It's always a possibility, but so far it is not looking impressive. Neither really is the storms here in northern Champaign County. They have not carried a warning further into Fisher or Rantoul. Yeah, you're going to get some lightning, some heavy rainfall. It's a good old-fashioned thunderstorm. But it does look like that this storm here over Rossville seems to be some of the strongest stuff. I think the winds right over Rossville right now. I'd be really curious to know about any wind reports or wind damage or anything there in Rossville because those winds are right on top of you. I mean, if there are strong winds making it to the surface there, if they would, it is right there, and you can kind of see it. So we see those little brighter pixels there. So what we'll do here again, and so we always have to take this with a grain of salt because it can be tough to determine how fast the winds are in there because you're shooting up a little bit higher. Severe thunderstorm warning continues here until 3 o'clock. So when we actually look at the what we call the velocity signature, shows 68-mile-an-hour winds. The problem with that is the radar is hitting that at about 8,000 feet up. So this is all we talk about this a lot. How this is kind of a Doppler, dead zone kind of area because you're shooting so far away from the storm. You're shooting, up into it so far. That kind of northeastern Vermilion County area is a tough area to really kind of know what's going on at the surface because that radar beam just goes so high up at that point. So it's just a negative thing about Doppler radar. The further you get away, you're just not looking as much into the surface level aspects of the storm. So that's why we rely upon you guys. I heard half of a word from Jacob. There's his shot. I see your shot. There he is. You just taking off on 57 North?
Actually, are you able to hear me now, Kevin, first off?
See if I can hear him. Hold on here. Let's see. Jacob, oh.
Kevin, can you hear me?
Whoop.
Sound like a foghorn there. Yeah, I'm actually going west in 74. I just didn't think it was. I didn't think it was prudent to go east to Indiana. And interesting enough, we're down to 79 here. I was on the North Prospect, kind of sitting and watching if I wanted to go. So heading west instead. But the outflow battery kicked it through, and you could feel that nice, cool breeze. And so that boundary now is between 74 and 72, kind of draped over Mahomet. And I'm just curious if one of those storms that's out there by Bloomington happens to ride along that boundary, what happens? I got nothing better to do on a Tuesday afternoon than spend time looking at the sky with you, Kevin. So that's kind of the motivation here. There probably is some wind. I did get some hail reports from Ford County. Paxton had pea-size hail. Roberts had quarter-size hail. And some of the photos that I saw, most of the stuff looked pretty elevated. So in the off chance that something does come, I think it's a pretty slim chance at this point. But in the off chance, I'm heading west just to see what happens. And I've got to figure out what restaurant I'm going to go to if I'm going this way. Kevin, any ideas?
You should go to.
I don't really have any ideas myself.
Well, you're on. Well, you need to go to. If you're just going to keep driving west, I don't know how far west you're going to go on 74 there, but can't go wrong with Farmer City Dewey's Drive-In over there. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I thought about cutting south in 72. I just wanted to get out of the construction zone mess in Champaign and get over to Mahomet and see what's going on. But, 78 now. It's kind of interesting to see that rain-cooled boundary keep pushing south. There's kind of this narrow little strip where things kind of want to line up right along that boundary. And so, I think the window of opportunity is small, but it's not zero. So, again, I'll either be taking a nap at home, getting ready for the morning show tomorrow, or driving out west. And obviously, I've chosen the latter over the former.
Well, I think it was interesting yesterday with some of the storms. You looked at them on radar. I can't remember. Maybe that was Sunday. My days are mixed up. Some of the storms on radar didn't look that impressive, but suddenly they were, putting down tornadoes and stuff. So it was kind of an interesting thing there. So I don't know. You just never know around here. You just never know.
And I think, Kevin, too, based on what's happened in Chicago, we'll have to get the official surveys, but it seems very likely that we broke 200 tornadoes in the state of Illinois with that big windstorm that swept through Chicago up there. And even just, we were at 198, I think it was. We only had to get 2 tornadoes. there's 650,000 customers out of power up in Northeast Illinois and Northern Indiana. That was an incredible amount of damage from straight line winds. Gary, Indiana, was that still the top wind report you've seen? 99 mile an hour measured wind gust? Pretty lucky that those storms also
90,
more south.
99 miles an hour.
Kind of edged in on
Gary, Indiana. It must be just a mess up there. So fortunately, these storms haven't been doing that. But I tell you, it is really interesting. It seems like the storms, as soon as they cross over into Indiana, have gotten stronger.
There's got to be something with the lake boundary that's up there. Things kind of funnel in with the cool, dense air and get compacted in. Something to me always stands out. That Northwest Indiana corridor all year has been the hot zone for severe storms. I mean, it's been tornado outbreaks up there. It's been big windstorms. A couple of weeks ago, they just had 500,000 customers out of power. Now they've got 650,000 customers out of power. So I think there's some lake enhancement that's happening up there to help these storms push over the edge. They kind of get funneled around there through that bottleneck. And it's just been interesting to see it all play out there. And timing-wise, too, put this an hour or two earlier, and now suddenly the whole west side of Chicago is also dealing with the same effects, but it really ramped up right over the west side and swept through the south side there before hitting Northwest Indiana. So
okay, well, we'll check it back in here with you in a little bit, just kind of see what we got going on. But back to our camera, it's over here in Danville. And again, Jacob, I don't know if you have before I was able to usually just hear you through my IFB. I don't know. Do you have to turn something on to do that? There we go. Now I think I can hear you. Yeah. I was muting. I was muting and unmuting you on the system so we could hear you, but I would prefer not to have to do that. There you go. That's fine. All right. So there's the camera view from Danville, getting a little bit more structure to that little line, that little shelf cloud that's moving in. And it does look like that it will probably come into Danville now. It's extended back enough. It probably does clip Danville. But as I look at it, the strongest winds by far are now pushing into Indiana, now almost east of Alvin. But the severe thunderstorm warning does continue in northern Vermilion County. And for all technical purposes, still technically in effect for Penfield and Gifford. I guess I could peer up to the north with our weather camera here in Champaign too, see what that looks like. So there's Danville. And now we'll look here at our studio camera in Champaign. And I'll have to move the camera up. So we're looking northwest. I'll come back here, look to the north. Yeah, not looking all that impressive. All right. Anybody in the chat there? Any reports of anything? Rossville, Rankin, Hoopeston. A lot of pea-sized hail reports. Sun just came out in Foosland, sprinkling. All right, so if Rossville didn't get, any good wind with that when it came through, what that tells me is that wind was still way aloft to where it didn't make it down to the surface yet, and it's still suspended up higher up, where the radar sees it as 60, 70 mile an hour winds, but at the surface you get 30 mile an hour winds, and that can happen. We'll keep an eye on those storms that are trying to get going there west of Hayworth, see if they want to try to do anything. So we've probably got a few more minutes left here of our warning that we'll still be hanging here with you, but we'll see how this kind of plays out. We may have to go back on again if we get some other warnings. What may happen is once these storms kind of clear the warned area, we may just pause for a second. We may be jumping back on with these storms coming out of McLean County. We'll see if those do anything or not. But as you look at the big wide view, not a whole lot going on elsewhere. But Indiana's been the hard hit here today. More severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing over there. Oh, that's interesting. Did we get a lightning strike right here? Hold on here. Yeah, actually getting some lightning strikes well out ahead of the line. Got a little lightning strike up there near Sellers. So when I look at this, I'm on radar, not seeing anything too intense now, really, in Vermilion County. Maybe still going pretty good there, just east of Alvin, but those stronger winds are pushing into Indiana. The stuff back to the west of that, not looking as impressive. Now we're just going to have to watch our stuff here into McLean County, and that's going to push into northwest DeWitt County. So we'll watch there from Wapella to Waynesville. Hayworth, you're next over there. Rutledge area. I mean, that might eventually make its way to Farmer City and DeWitt. We'll see how that kind of evolves. Yeah, so now we're looking at those storms there. Southeast of Bloomington, Hayworth. Things kind of ramped up a little bit. All right, Jacob, talk to us. Where are you at?
Oh, I'm south of Mahomet, and I keep playing with my mind on what I want to do here. Because I got the river, and I'm trying to decide if I want to go up 74 or if I want to go west in 10, and I've been back and forth. I can't make my mind up. And I'm halfway between 10 and
Yep.
74 right now, too,
Yep.
is the other problem.
I know.
So I'm just trying to get a bearing on radar. You got any thoughts on that? I think 10 is probably the smarter one. Keep south of it in case it. Oops.
Yeah.
Go more towards D-land and catch that.
There's a nice little outflow boundary that actually just it got kicked off by these storms. That's probably actually just would have passed right over you in the last few minutes.
I could see it here, and that's what I was looking in the sky. Because when I was leaving Champaign, it was just crossing the interstate. And
yep.
so I'm going to carry that down and watch this storm ride along that. Sometimes those outflow. Are we still on digital?
Yep. We're
Is
still
that right?
streaming. Yep. We're still on.
Okay. All right, cool. So then I'll get nerdy because I don't have to tell you these things. But people who might be interested, the reason we like these outflow boundaries is sometimes they can help to generate some localized wind shear, and they can help to strengthen storms. You don't necessarily have to go tornadic with them, but if you're struggling to get storms to fire thanks to a strong cap in place, like most of the area has, an outflow boundary can be a way to break that here. Upper level energy can be another way to break that. And sometimes you just get so darn hot, you break through it anyways here. But that's how I kind of planning this outflow boundary and following it here and seeing what it does. So I'll probably sneak on the interstate, get off at 10 and head on over to D-Land and watch there. And then I've got some plays to the south of it. I just got to watch the river is just the worst part. That's the stinker part here between Mahomet and Monticello, the Sangamon River. There's not many crossings. So just got to think about that too. And of course, I'm never going to get across Lake Clinton the way I want to either. It's Clinton Lake there. So
yeah, that's
kind
a
of my
tough
thought
area.
process. That cell is organizing a little more, and
Yeah, no,
looks
it's
like some wind maybe firing up there by Hayworth. So
it's strengthened for sure.
we'll see what comes from it. So I think Farmer City, D-Land, Weldon is kind of the direction it's heading, as opposed to Mahomet, Fisher, especially with that boundary placement being right over me. So we'll try and get in that direction here and have a report for you, Kevin.
All right, sounds good. We are watching our storms here. Let's just kind of show you again, Vermilion County. This stuff here, strongest stuff's heading into Indiana. But when we look at the two storms now, this one back here is starting to look a little bit more impressive, right? Okay, as opposed to this one. Okay, so right here, this is the area. So we'll keep an eye on this here as it dives to the southeast. No warning on it yet, but you know, this area obviously has not had any storms yet. Actually, just got a little bit more of a hail core trying to get going over Hayworth. So I'm going to start turning our weather cameras in Champaign to the northwest. All right, so we got our cameras in Champaign, kind of pointed to the northwest. We're going to do the same with our cameras here at the Memorial Stadium. Allow us to get a little view of the storm as it comes in. And let's see if we've got Jacob on the storm spotter icon. Let's see if we can see him. And yep, there he is. Yep, we see him. We've got him. It's probably not fully updated yet, but because you're on 72 now, aren't you? All right, I'm going to come back to the chat, see if you guys have any reports of anything. Hey, Jacob, can I have you go ahead and fill some time there for a second?
Sure, I can do that. All right, everyone. We are right now in just kind of watch mode here, keeping an eye on things. There's no weather alerts for the storms that are by Bloomington and Clinton. That's the storm that I'm targeting. So I'll be heading heading west, I should say, on Route 10. And then I will also, of course, mention there could be some wind still in northern Vermilion County. They still have that severe thunderstorm warning there. Right now, my plan is to play Route 10 west, and I'm going to be watching this outflow boundary. I can see it. In fact, if you look, the leading edge of that outflow boundary is right there in front of me here and kind of runs along Route 10. where the storm is going to be moving to the. It looks like we just got a severe thunderstorm warning for Piatt, DeWitt, and McLean County. And yeah, I can hear you. Sure.
Since you're officially in the warning box area there, Jacob, I'll let you talk about that storm that we've got you primed and ready for. So go ahead and give it about 3 to 5 minutes or so, and then we'll be back with you here. But let us know kind of where you're going and what your plan is.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll tap dance my way a little bit. So if the signal drops, I'll keep talking and cut back in as needed here. But we're now moving west on Route 10, and I'll be approaching the Lodge area shortly, just north of White Heath right now. And the severe thunderstorm warning goes until 3:30, and it's going to include Farmer City, DeWitt, Clinton Lake, D-Land. It'll include anyone north of Monticello in Piatt County. It does not include Clinton, but there is some wind being noted now just east of Hayworth, and that's going to pass between Leroy and Weldon, perhaps over the lake there. So we may hear some strong wind gusted that way, and it's going to carry it as well towards Farmers City and towards the I-74 corridor. So we'll watch. I've opted to go a little further south because I can go into D-Land and then I can cut north there if I need to. And so that's something that we'll kind of watch. If I need to take 148 north, we can play that option here. This warning is for wind, not a hail concern. Storms earlier did have a hail threat. With them, we had some quarter-sized hail in Roberts, some pea-sized hail in Paxton, some small hail reports also across far southern Iroquois and northern Vermilion counties. And then there's been perhaps some wind over there, but I like the way this storm looks better for wind potential here, especially that blob that's there coming out of Hayworth. There's probably some tropical downpours and some intense lightning. And what's happening is this storm is increasing in strength. We were concerned about this outflow boundary, and as the outflow boundary works its way here through the area, it kind of is stalled actually a little south of 74. Weren't sure how far it would go. That little line of storms there that is now from Rantoul off east to the Danville area helped to push it a little further to the south. But now I'm sitting at a temperature of 86, whereas when I was in Mahomet, I was at 79, and I'm not far away here. I'm only 5 miles, 6 miles southwest of there. So that gives you an idea of where that outflow boundary is. And sometimes as these storms ride those outflow boundaries, they can spinning and still not be a tornado producer. That happens all the time. Anytime you've got hailstorms, anytime you even have some damaging winds, sometimes there's rotating updrafts way up high that can help to get the storm to be a little stronger. On the flip side, though, as these outflow boundaries are in place, they also can help to generate low-level spinning. We'll just watch and see. I don't see any signs of that now, but I think it is helping to enhance the rotation a little bit. I should rephrase that. The downburst winds a little. I don't see rotation kind of looking at things, but we're going to get a view of it, probably get to D-Land here shortly, and I might sneak north. It's kind of in a not so great chasing terrain. The one spot it's coming through because I'm fighting the Sangamon River right now, and then I'm battling the lake. And so I've either got to use Route 10 or get back up to 150 to keep going west. But we'll keep an eye on it here and keep monitoring things for the near term. So again, severe thunderstorm warning, McLean, DeWitt, northern Piatt counties. This storm will carry it in the direction of Champaign-Urbana. That is something to note here. Some of our guidance earlier had this scenario playing out where these storms started to intensify. So early heads up for Champaign-Urbana. By 4 o'clock, we may have some storms knocking on the door here. And that's something that we'll have to keep a very close eye on. So we'll kind of watch that and see how things play out here. So that's the scoop here. Again, let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Kevin can see them. I can't. But
and I'm back with you now. Back with you now, Jacob. So we're good to go.
Kevin's back. Okay.
Cool.
Well, Kevin, if you keep with me here for just another minute, I'm actually going to get my first view of the storm.
Okay, great.
Once I get around the corner here.
Yeah,
and
there's
I kind of could see a little area.
I got to tell you,
there. So, Kevin, I'll give it to you a second. Why don't you send back to me?
Yeah. Just to kind of show the folks there, the new updated radar scan. There's a nice little pocket of winds there that's probably going to be coming towards, I'd say, Parnell, there along Route 10. Or, I'm sorry, along 54.
54.
Yeah. And That's going to slide south and east. So yeah, once you get to D-land, man, can you? You might just have to get on some country roads there in northern Piatt County. And
well, I got D-land. I got 148 north to. Oh no, I don't even have to go that far. There's a straight road that cuts into the south side of Farmer City. That's going to be my plan.
yeah, that's. Yeah,
so I'll scoot up there, but I turn the corner here and I'll see. And just let me know too. Is my mic still hot?
You are still hot, yes.
Terms, just so I'm aware.
Yeah, I can shut it off if you need,
Kevin,
but it's it's on.
No. You said I'm hot. That's fine. I appreciate that. So here's my first view of the storm coming out of the trees here, and I kind of see that little lowered area there on the left side. That's an area I'll keep an eye on, and that's pretty close to where the outflow boundary is. And then as I zoom back more here to the right, that area of heavy rain is where the wind is going to be. And I want to be in a position where I can see all of that, not necessarily get sucked to the north there, because just want to monitor that there. I'm far enough away, I can't make out a lot, but I'm close enough where I can tell it's something to keep an eye on here. So D-land is going to give me a good spot to be that here, but certainly that wind kind of really picking up, Kevin, and that may pass Farmer City just south and then a few miles north of D-land there. I bet if there's any boaters enjoying a summer day on the lake, they're going to be getting in on that fairly quick here. So I'm about a mile or two away from D-land, and I'll be taking north a little bit to watch things, Kevin, and we'll have more reports for you here with the severe thunderstorm warning coming up soon.
Okay, perfect. That sounds good, Jacob. Watching your camera view. Yeah, you're getting a nice view of that storm as it comes in. Here's what it looks like once again on radar. You can see there's Farmer City, there's DeWitt, there's 48, it goes north to 54, and that storm is just sliding south and east. So here's the last 30 minutes, so you get an idea. There it is, and it's gonna just ride right down there south and almost kind of just south of I-74. And right where that polygon box is, I think they drew that polygon pretty good to where this is probably going to head towards. So what I'll do here is we'll draw it out. Let me see what the movement is on this one. We are going, 45 miles an hour. A little faster. All right, so let's see if we can't. I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit more. Stand by here, clear that off. Okay. We're going to do that. So yeah, now you're talking Farmer City here at 308. D-land 316, Mansfield 318, Seymour 329. Maybe it gets to Champaign 339, about 40 minutes or so. All right, so Parnell is about where those stronger winds are about to come into. So Farmer City, be paying attention there, just southwest of you, long 54. We'll watch D-land to Mansfield area. Between Parnell, D-land, Mansfield, that'll be kind of the area where the strongest winds are. We'll see if this thing's trying to do anything else, but so far so good. And just to kind of peek back at Vermilion County again, look how much calmer things are. Danville, yeah, you've got a storm coming in, but so far nothing that is actually, there's not even a warning in effect anymore for you guys, so it doesn't look too bad over there. So by far the strongest storm now was the one that we've got Jacob on and tracking into eastern DeWitt and northern Piatt County. All right, let's see what our folks at the Weather Service are talking about here. All right. Let's see if our cameras in Champaign are picking up on anything yet. There's your Danville camera again. Again, Danville just getting that storm starting to come in. Then here's our camera in Champaign. Not seeing a whole lot just yet, but we'll have a pretty good view once that storm begins to move in. 3:01, Tuesday afternoon, August 11th. As we track one little complex, one little storm here. This is almost kind of the furthest south any of these storms have made it over the last like 3 days. You know, a lot of this has been north of I-74 and more into Ford and Iroquois and Livingston counties. And so now we're actually getting, you know, DeWitt, Piatt, eventually maybe Champaign County in on some of the action. So we'll see how this storm evolves over the next hour or so. Obviously, plenty of moisture and instability out there for us. It's muggy. It's, pretty disgusting. But a weakening of the cap in that area too. Not as much inhibition. I mean, there's some 4,000. What do we got here? Like 4,000 Cape. So convective available potential energy, known as instability, measured in joules per kilogram, measuring that energy in the atmosphere for these storms to tap into. And we've got plenty of that over Champaign County. I'm just going to look at the mesoscale analysis of some of this stuff here.
I can give you a quick report too, Kevin.
Yeah.
Great view of it.
Okay, let's go back to Jacob here. And I'm just looking at something real quick. 55, 5,000. Yeah, interesting. An interesting boundary that's right there. All right, let's pull this camera up. All right, there's the view of the storm. What do you got? Ooh, pretty.
Yeah, it's a really nice looking storm. It kind of looks a little green in there to me. If you kind of see that a little bit, there's some slight blue-green hues in there. And it looks to me like it's maybe pushing more southeast. And I can really see that as I zoom into the rain curtains here. Some of that wind coming down, going from right to left there. So I'm probably going to back down to Route 10 in a minute. The other thing is I got to play the game of trying to find bean fields because the cornfields block the view this time of year. But we'll take a pan to the north here, and then that's going to be what's coming in. So kind of the leading part of the wind might be coming in just north of D-Land, south of Farmer City there. But
well, it also just, you should look at the radar. It just kind of grew an arm. It just grew an arm that stretches all the way from Farmer City to Mansfield. It's kind of interesting. Literally like one scan, and it grew this arm out. It's just...
Well, okay, that's this up here. Take a look at this, Kevin.
Yeah.
That's the...
Okay.
That's up there now, about north of my location. And I don't want to say... let's see here. That might be where the boundary is, and it's trying to... Could it... if we get the surge of wind on the south side here, could we have to watch for something a little further north instead of on the south side, trying to get wrapped up in the rain there? That may be something that sticks out to me. I don't see anything imminent now, but I think those storms are firing along the boundary. Maybe I need to start keeping an eye up there with the south push and some storms in there. I mean, that's a pretty impressive view right there.
No,
looking at that,
it's a great view.
So,
no, that's a great view right there of that. Seen some of the structure to that little lower base that's there, and still those stronger winds are just barely to your northwest. But yeah, that little area that's kind of grew an arm there. So it'll be interesting if this thing can try to pinwheel around a little bit, bring some of that kind of RFD stuff down on the backside. And, we'll see.
there's some motion in there. I'm actually pretty impressed looking at that. It's moving fairly quick. So I don't have a whole lot of time to dilly-dally.
I was gonna say it grew really quick. Like it was like 2 radar scans, and all of a sudden.
So that'll be interesting to see what kind of happens up in that little thing there. There is some rising motion. I can see some rising motion back in there, but it's still fairly high off the ground. But if I zoom out a little bit, you can see the surge happening in the south side, and that's kind of getting wrapped up there. I think, Kevin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to maneuver back to D-land and start to kind of keep east of this so I don't get too far behind. If I need to, I'm looking north out my left window. I can stop and get the camera out real quick, but very interesting to see. I'm fairly impressed with this right now, Kevin.
Yeah. No, it's
kind of escalating a little bit, and if anything, we're going to get some wind out of that. I think into the Champaign-Urbana area on its current trajectory.
Okay, so tracking our storm here, moving through DeWitt County right now. Going to be heading into northwestern Piatt County. Again, Jacob is on the storm there in Piatt County for right now. And here, let's go ahead and pull him back in. And we'll show his location. So that was his view there. So if you guys are curious as to what he was looking at, so he was looking at that storm there to the north and then to the west. So we thought the winds were more here. This was that little area. I said, well, I think this kind of grew, right? And so that's now Farmer City stretching all the way to Mansfield. But we're going to watch this area here as that starts to come into northwestern portions of Piatt County. So severe thunderstorm warning there does continue. It butts right up to Champaign County. Technically, Champaign County not in a warning yet, but we'll have to watch there. Mahomet, Seymour. We'll see if this gets extended at all and into Champaign or not. But it also all depends on, some of the reports that maybe start to come in. Like, do we get anything? Do we see anything? Do we get any damage? Do we get any winds in there? So that's something that the Weather Service obviously is looking at. And but we've got the nice thing is that once again we're on it, and we're going to be able to see if anything comes out of this and what we've got.
Kevin, you want to give me 3 seconds?
Go ahead. You're on. Ooh, look at that.
There it is. You can see it's
ooh, look at that lightning.
And there's quite a bit of motion. There's quite a bit of motion right in there. So I'm going to lock this camera in place and keep going east here. But I can see it. The southern edge of it is surging out ahead of it, and sometimes that can help it to kind of wrap up in there a little bit, Kevin. So, to be able to see a view of this, if I keep going east here and hop on Route 10 by Lodge, that might give me a spot to look at it back by Seymour. But that stands out to me as something interesting to see there, Kevin.
Yeah, it might have some winds in there, and an interesting structure to the storm. I think that's the surge of the winds. It's almost even like that area. I don't say it's like bowing out, but like you can almost kind of see it kind of, the cylindrical kind of, circle shape there of that. And there's the tall corn that is impeding our views these days. Yeah. And then you had a road, and then there's the more tall corn. And then of course all of the wind turbines there in that area. But yeah, it looks like the wind turbines aren't moving. Maybe they turned them off as a result of the storms coming through.
A couple of them are
slowly.
Yeah, they're here we go. We got another Mansfield look here.
Oh, here we go.
There's gonna be some wind in there coming this way. And
yeah.
I'm just curious as it surges out, what the next couple of radar images are gonna look like here. But it's good to have eyes on this. It's right on the outflow boundary. As I pan it a little bit there's that little arm sticking out that has the heavy rain that you were looking at. So we'll kind of keep our eyes on it. Just keep sneaking east here. Eventually, I'm going to make my way back down to 10, so I may not get another good view of it until I'm in Seymour because of the river coming up. But we'll keep you updated.
Yep. Good view there, looking across the bean field. And all right, so here's what it looks like on radar again, folks. So we'll come back to that. So there's Jacob in his position. So Farmer City. All right. Just reading some of your lightning. Lightning in Farmer City is unreal. The sky is green in Farmer City. So again, folks, here with you. We are in the studio. We're doing our thing, as we always do. It's 3:11 on this Tuesday afternoon. Farmer City, Mansfield, we're watching you. We're watching over here northwest of Whiteheath. Severe thunderstorm warning continues. Really intense storm here. It's starting to strengthen a little bit. We could have some strong winds in there. We've got Jacob in the storm tracker. We're in the studio, and we are keeping a real close eye on this storm as it begins to move in. Here's the view from our Champaign cameras. We'll start to get a little bit more of the structure of that storm.
Oh, crap.
All right.
It's really, it's accelerating. Kevin.
It seems like, I was going to say, it seems like it's speeding up.
Let me put my camera up. Here's my front camera, and you can look to the right there. I got to zoom to Route 10 to get east because I can see the rain curtains really accelerating.
Yeah, that thing is catching you, man. That thing is catching up. Yeah, that's right on top of you. You can see that thing.
It's really surging out there, Kevin. Back to you.
I mean, yeah, I think that thing's starting to put out a little wind there. So Lodge and Whiteheath, and just south of Mansfield. So south of Mansfield, Lodge, Whiteheath. Be watching that as that comes right across. You can see. Look at that. You can just see even Jacob. You can see those rain curtains that are. I mean, they're about to pass them right now. Look how fast that's moving. That's just coming right across. Wow, there's some strong winds right there, Jacob. I'm telling you, there's some strong winds right. The new radar scan right there has got those strong winds right where you are. Just right there.
There's my back camera.
Yeah.
I'm barely keeping ahead of it here.
It surged out quite a bit. There's something there. Jacob, there's something right there, man.
Look north of D-Land.
Yes, northeast of D-Land. Northeast of D-Land. There's something interesting in there. I'm not going to lie.
That's that spot I was looking at earlier, Kevin. And that to me stands out as some intense winds. And it may be trying to spin a little bit more here. The storm relative reflectivity also showing that. So Seymour, Lodge, Whiteheath, north of there, into Muhammad. We're really going to have to watch that close. Now, trying to keep ahead of this now. It's going to be real interesting, Kevin. But I'm going to get into position. I'm going to get to the other side of Interstate 72 on 10, and I'll try and report back to you then, Kevin.
Yeah, okay. All right. And so we got Jacob there. I got to tell you, man, so on radar, and I'm going to come back to it, the new radar scan, it put a nice little surge of wind. I mean, right there. And I'm going to try to pull it up for you. We're going to zoom in. And I'm telling you, this thing is looking a little bit more interesting on radar, folks. Okay. Let me bring up the velocity on this again. And so just this little area here that is right near Lodge, northwest of Lodge, is where there is a clear sort of increase in the winds. And right here.
Do you need me to talk for a minute, Kevin? So in case we need to tell production to be on standby?
Yeah, boy, Lodge. I'm telling you, if you're in Lodge right now, I would be taking some shelter here just because, if anything, there's a real surge of strong winds that it's gonna come right there along 10 and into Lodge. There is a clear surge there. And just a little increase in quite a bit of an increase in the wind. The radar shows about 77 mile an hour winds in that, and that's hitting at about 2,500 feet. So there are some good indicators there of that. I think that's going to come really close to Lodge, just north of Whiteheath. Maybe right there through Lodge. Strong storm with some really intense winds. Isolated. It is a small area, but if that thing is dropping some winds there, it's doing so over some farm fields there in northwestern Piatt County, east of D-Land and right there near Lodge. So here's what I was talking about. If you see this on the radar here, it's right here. And look how small this area is, but fairly strong little indicator of those winds, and that's going to be over 10 and 72 here in the next few minutes or so. Let's see what we got with Jacob. So there's Jacob. Yeah, he's in that tough area that's over there. A lot of trees when you get right there near the river, and a little bit more difficult to see stuff. But
I think we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning.
Yes.
They did put 70 mile per hour winds and tornado possible.
Okay. So now we've got Piatt and Champaign County severe thunderstorm warning. So your phones probably going to be going off here any second if they haven't already. Hey, Michael, just be on standby in there potentially if we have to cut in here. So just let everybody know, just be on standby. So we are doing our coverage here on our streaming platforms as we've been doing here over the last over hour or so. But definitely an intensification of this storm, and this thing is coming right in to Champaign County now. There is the warning, so it includes Champaign, it's Tolono, it's Seymour. I mean, it's technically Mahomet there. Strongest part of the wind is right on Highway 10, right over Lodge. Strongest part of this is right over Lodge on the updated radar scan. It puts those strong winds.
Kevin, I can give you a report for a minute here.
All right. I got Jake. Oh, okay. Yep. I got Jacob real quick. Jacob there. Go ahead. Wow. It is dark. Goodness. Jacob, are you there?
Kevin, you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, my weather call went off.
Yeah.
My weather call was going on.
Yeah, actually.
There is something right back there that catches my attention, but I'm still too close to the trees, but wanted to look. That's that area where it's wrapped up, that the velocity looked interesting. And then you can see here this surging of wind that's coming on the south side here. There is quite a bit of motion.
Or you're black. You're black.
Behind it, I can see clouds moving left.
Your camera's black.
Give me a second here.
Yep. There we go.
Go back to you. Okay, there we go. To the left there's some motion that's, boy, I'm not in a good spot here right now, Kevin. I need to keep moving, but there is certainly, I think there's some rotation in there, Kevin, higher up in the clouds.
Okay.
I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm going to be moving east, but boy, that really stands out to me as some rotation there west of 72 and 10.
That is a strong looking storm. I'm telling you right now, that is intense. It's got some really strong winds in there. Now coming into Whiteheath, northeast of Monticello, but also starting to ramp up a little bit there, folks. So severe thunderstorm warning does continue here. You've got, this thing is, I mean, it is really starting to even pick up speed. So now you've got Whiteheath coming in right on the Champaign and Piatt County line. And then, yeah, obviously if you're in Champaign, Savoy, and Bonneville, your phone's going off for severe thunderstorm warnings. This is a wind damage threat mainly, but there is what's known as the tornado possible tag. So Weather Service is going, okay, we've got winds, but there might be some rotation in here. Look at the camera view from our camera view, I should say, here in Champaign. We're kind of looking off there to the north and west, and we're going to have a perfect view right into this storm if there is anything in there. We're looking kind of there to the northwest. You're going to see kind of that shelf cloud there So this is looking, that's more up towards Mahomet. But let's just kind of peer this thing straight west where some of those stronger winds are. And you can see here, notice, when you look there, you can see the kind of the rain shaft there. And so this will start to come into even clearer picture for us as it moves our way. So if you're watching here in parts of western Champaign County, be on the lookout. This is a strong storm. It has intensified quite a bit just in the last couple of minutes. I think there are some really strong winds there that just moved through Lodge and the Whiteheath area. I would not be surprised if we're getting some wind damage out of this too. Let's bring this back to the radar. It seems like it's picked up in speed too. We were watching on Jacob's camera there. You could just see it on his camera how fast that thing was moving. It's trying to, is it trying to do a little something there?
Oh, it is, Kevin. Folks. I think this is moving towards the outflow boundary is there. Yep. I think this is going to wrap up. I do think that we are right on the edge of a tornado warning in Champaign County. That could come any moment, Kevin. I really think so. Looking behind me, seeing that rotation in the rain.
It is right on. It's right on the outflow.
South of Seymour. I'm going to move south to Seymour and move in that direction towards the Ivesdale-Tolono area. It's kind of my plan. So I'm coming into Seymour now. Once I get south of Seymour, Kevin, I'll check back in, give you another view with the camera, and I'll report what's going on. Back to you.
The hail core has increased. It's right on the outflow boundary. It's where rotation would increase. Whiteheath, Bonneville, south of Bonneville, Sedoris. I really want you guys paying attention. Tolono, too. You got a few minutes here, but this thing's starting to kick up. If you're in far rural western portions of Champaign County, right on the Champaign County line. So here's what we've got, folks. This area right here. See this right there? Okay, that is where things could ramp up, and you might get a little circulation out of that. If you're Whiteheath, that thing is on top of you. But now I'm thinking Sedoris, Tolono, even Savoy we're watching. Savoy, Tolono, Sedoris area as this slides to the southeast. More than, listen, you're going to have, number one, possibly some hail in there because the hail core's kicked up to maybe some ping pong ball size hail. Then you've got this rotation on this storm, and that's diving to the southeast. And on top of that, all right, Jacob, do you got a report?
Yeah, Kevin, I just got south now, and I've got my first view, continuing to really see here on the left side where that is surging out, and then on the right side, that's where this rotation that I've been looking at is now. And you're right, it's turning hard to the right. There is strong rotation at the surface there, Kevin. I'm really shocked to see this here. Strong rotation noted now on the right side of the screen, and it's moving very quickly in the surge because it should be moving right to left. It's moving left to right from my vantage point on the right side of the screen. So I'm going to watch that very closely, Kevin. This storm really accelerating and causing problems now. And there is, man, Kevin, this strong rotation. I'm going to send it back to you. Keep moving south, and I'll get a report in coming up soon. I got to keep going east to get to 57 so I can stay ahead of it, Kevin.
Yeah, keep going east. Keep going east there, folks. If you're watching here in Champaign County, we are a step below getting a tornado warning out of this. I'll just say that right now. We're getting some strong winds coming into Mahomet. We're getting some, kind of the northern edge of this, but by far the strongest is Whiteheath, and now on the Champaign Piatt County line, Savoy, Tolono, south of Bonneville. Be paying attention here. I think this thing is real close to maybe having to go tornado warned. So I just want you folks to really pay attention here. We're keeping a really close eye on this. Mahomet, Seymour, Whiteheath. Storms coming into your area as we speak. I'm just going to peek back here at our weather camera in Champaign, see if we've got anything that we can see in terms of our view here. The lightning is going to pick up quite a bit with this too. So really strong storm, Champaign County, severe thunderstorm warning, really intense cell, folks. I got to tell you, something we really need to be monitoring here. I'm going to switch our camera to our stadium view. Going to get a little bit better view of that.
I got another view of it here for about a minute as well.
All right. Here's Jacob's camera. All right. So what are you seeing there? Just that looks like just a wall of wind.
Yeah, so there's that. This is the part surging. It's this part right over the red barn right now that I see spinning very quickly. Tornado warning just issued, Kevin. Tornado warning, Champaign, Douglas, and Piatt Counties.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to let you get set up. But,
all right, guys.
Take care of that, and I'm going to keep moving.
Okay, guys. In control room in there. All right. We're ready to go ahead. All right. Here we go, folks. Tornado warning. Tornado warning. All right, folks. Stand by. Okay, folks, tornado warning in effect. We are here with you. Tornado warning in effect for Champaign County, parts of Piatt County. We have a developing tornado here, folks. Please take shelter. Savoy, Tolono, Philo, Bondville area. Tornado warning in effect. Really strong storm. It has intensified quite a bit just in the last few minutes. South of Seymour, we have rotation on this storm. It is going to be Sodorus, Tolono, Savoy. Get to your tornado safe spot right now. Likely tornado has developed here, really intensified in the last few minutes. It is located, again, just east of Whiteheath, just south of Seymour, just northwest of Sodorus, as it is moving to the southeast here, folks. All right, here we go. It is 3:28 p.m. We've got a tornado warning in effect for Champaign County, extreme eastern portions of Piatt County. I need you folks that are watching in Sodorus, Savoy, Tolono, Philo. I need you guys all to get to your tornado safe spot right now. If you live south of Bondville, we are going to be monitoring this storm. It has intensified quickly. We also have Jacob who is on, so we're going to check in with him in just a second. He's trying to stay ahead of this storm, but this thing has really kicked up in the last few minutes and has got rotation on it, and you can see it right here. That is the classic little hook we start to get, little inflow notch in there, and that storm has really started to show signs of rotation. This thing's going to be coming across I-57 in the next few minutes or so. I've got Jacob here with us. Jacob is on the storm. He's just barely ahead of it. Jacob, tell us what you're seeing where you are.
Yeah, hey, Kevin. So we're north of Sodorus, west of Savoy here. I'm going to try and get down to Monticello Road. The potential tornado is wrapped up in this rain. It continues to surge. As I look here, and I'll turn the camera back in front of me here for a second. This is looking due south. You can see the strong surge there. It's back in this area where that tornado is likely located here. It may be very difficult to see. This storm is accelerating south and east, but I have a lot of concern for Sodorus, Tolono, Savoy, Willard Airport. If you're in Champaign, north of downtown, I think you're okay. There may still be some wind and hail, but man, this storm really escalated quickly in the last 15 minutes. We're going to turn to the east here and continue to snake our way towards Willard Airport. I believe I'm going to be on Windsor Road, heading back into town here. My goal is to make it down to Curtis, but potential tornado wrapped up in the rain there, Kevin. Strong rotation I noted earlier south of Seymour. That has since been wrapped up and hard to see now. So treat this as if it's a tornado down. Back to you, Kevin.
I think there's some of the strongest rotation we've had so far. Sodorus, if you are anywhere between Sodorus and Tolono, okay, this is really important. This storm is showing the strongest parts of the rotation right now, literally right now, just north of Sodorus. You've got Tolono, okay, Willard Airport. There is a possible tornado here, I would say 3 or 4 miles southwest of Willard Airport, 2 or 3 miles to the north of Sodorus. And it's going to be right there where you can see it. Okay, so right about here, is where where that rotation is, where that tornado would be. So it is obviously well east of Monticello. You're going to have hail core here, but right tucked into this is where that tornado would be. So I need you, if you're in Sedoras and Tolono, tornado safe spot right now. If you are in that rural area there, just, along I-57, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. Lowest level of your home, center part of your house here, folks. Tornado warning continues. Yes, the warning goes all the way down to the Broadlands area, Villa Grove, but I want to talk about just the most immediate area of concern is going to be I-57 west, just west of Willard Airport, just west of Tolono and Sedoras right now, but this storm is coming for you. If you know anybody that is out there, do not have them, get out there. This updated scan puts the rotation on this just a couple miles north of Sedoras now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up another one of my products that allows me to kind of see exactly where some of that rotation is. And take a look at this. And bear with me. So you're looking at it here. So that area right here, north of Sedoras, that's where that tornado would be. Now, it would be really embedded in some of the heavy rainfall, okay, right here. But where that kind of greenish color is, that's the rotation. Tolono is right here. Here's Sedoras. It's moving southeast. It's just going to be crossing 57 in the next couple of minutes. It's going to come probably just maybe barely north of Sedoras. It's going to be a real close call, Tolono. Real close call for you, Tolono. But I need you to get to your tornado safe spot right now. Lowest level of your home, center part of your house. Extremely strong winds going to be coming into Sedoras too. Even if there isn't a tornado, the radar is indicating some 70-mile-an-hour winds with this, and then that potential tornado that's right there coming into portions of southwestern Champaign County. And we've got Jacob there. Jacob, I know you're in some heavy rainfall there. Can we pull up his shot there just a little bit? I'm just wanting to kind of see exactly what he's got for us there, where Jacob is located, folks, there in the control room. So there he is. You can see him on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. His view there is he's trying to keep ahead of this. All right, so he's at Monticello Road and Barker Road there. Sedoras, I have extreme concern for you, and also Tolono. Tolono, please get in your tornado safe spot. Willard Airport, some of that rotation just going to be southwest of you, but Sedoras to Tolono is the biggest area of concern that I've got right now. This is a serious situation for you folks here as the tornado warning continues. Champaign, you're kind of on the edge of this, and yeah, your sirens might be going off, but where we have this rotation is a little bit more clearly kind of focused just southwest of Champaign and more. We're gonna include Savoy just in case this thing turns at all, but Tolono for sure. Philo, I want you guys to be taking shelter too, but I think Sedoras to Tolono right now is the number one area of concern between Sedoras, Tolono, and Savoy. Those areas right now are really under the gun with this possible tornado. So the folks that are here with us, this is the serious deal. We need you to take shelter. What I want to do is I'm going to try to take a look at our camera view before we lose it, because we're going to lose the view of it from our Champaign camera here, because we're going to start to see the winds in the rain kind of take over. So I'm kind of peering here. This is to the southwest. Let's see if we can see anything with this here. We're looking southwest of Champaign. If there's something in there, we're going to look for maybe any power flashes. But the problem is if there is a tornado, it's wrapped in rain. You're not going to be able to really see this thing. It's really kind of tucked in there to where you would just see heavy. It would just look like it's heavy rainfall, but tucked in there is the really strong winds. And so let me see. Let me just kind of zoom in. A little bit of maybe kind of a lowering that's in there to see if we can see anything. Also, we would look for any power flashes if there is a tornado that is in here. So we're looking southwest. We did get a report of a funnel cloud from a storm spotter there when that storm was coming through. We're just starting to get some of the winds here coming into Champaign now. And again, tornado warning continues. Sedoras and Tolono. Jacob is at Monticello Road and 57, which is literally about where that rotation would be Jacob, you're on Monticello in 57. I would keep going east, Jacob. I don't want you to get caught. I keep going east. Keep going east, Jacob. That storm there, and you can kind of see it. So he's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. The tornado warning here coming into, okay, confirmed. We've got confirmation now. Stand by, folks. Tornado observed now. Tornado observed. Stand by here, folks. We've got a confirmed tornado now, and we're kind of looking at it. We're getting the strong winds coming in here to the studio now. We're trying to see here, looking into the storm, confirmation, National Weather Service, confirmed tornado was between Sadorus and Seymour, 8 miles southwest of Champaign, moving east at 40 miles an hour. So they do have some confirmation of this. So Sador, and now we're starting to lose our view here because, folks, we're getting into that heavy rainfall and maybe some of the hail. If you're in Champaign, I think we might start getting a little bit of hail here, folks. You're really going to start to see this thing ramp up quite a bit. There might be an embedded tornado in here. Look at the rain bands coming in here too into Champaign. Tornado warning. Confirmed tornado, folks. Confirmed tornado observed Champaign County right now. Sadorus, Tolono area, the highest concern. And now we can't even see anything on our camera because of how heavy the rain and hail is. That is at our Memorial Stadium camera. They're obviously south here off of Neal Street. And now we can't see anything. So let's bring it back to radar because that's all we're going to be able to see now. Tolono, get down to the lowest level of your home right now. Philo, same for you folks, okay? Tolono, Sadorus, I think the tornado would probably just be east of Sadorus now, but Tolono, it's coming real close to you between Tolono, and we're even going to say Posodum there too. We want you guys to watch. Philo, be paying attention. We might be getting some hail here at the studio. I'm hearing some of that. Just north of Tolono is where Jacob is located right now. And he is going to try to give us a report here in just a second so we can kind of see where his location is. And so to give you guys a little bit of understanding of where he's at on this storm, he is right there in that little notched area. And here in a second, when Jacob kind of turns, we'll have a brief report from him because he's got to try to stay ahead of this thing best that he can. We've got this tornado, confirmed tornado here. It's going to be between Sadorus and Tolono. Okay, Jacob, go. Jacob, go. I see you.
Hey, if there's a tornado still down, it's going to be right there just west of Tolono. The rotation is here. It's moving left to right in front of me, Kevin. Something we got to watch really closely here. And Tolono, you've got to shelter. It's going to be right there. That's it, Kevin. We're looking at it here coming into Tolono. I can see the clouds. The storm is moving right to left. The clouds in front of you are moving left to right. That rotation is right in there where this tornado touched down earlier, Kevin. I cannot confirm if it's on the ground. It's going to be coming into Tolono. Tolono, shelter now. Back to you, Kevin.
Tolono, as we just mentioned there, you can see it right there, Jacob's camera. He's got the view of it right there, okay? This was down, and we were going to treat this as if this is still down, folks. We did confirmation of it here in the last few minutes. Tolono, take shelter right now. Folks there that are on the roads there, please be careful. That is the area where there is rotation on this. Tolono, if you're watching us in Philo, south of Philo, if you're watching us Longview areas, you also need to be taking shelter here. Go now before it gets on top of you and it's too late. The tornado itself coming into Tolono here as we speak. We'll come back to Jacob in a second as he gets a view. Here is, let's bring it back to radar here. You can see there it is again, just the wide view to give you the rest of the area that is under the tornado warning. It's Broadlands. It is Villa Grove. It is northeastern Douglas County, but the concern right now is right over Tolono as this comes into town. Okay, just north of Posodum. The rotation on this is pretty evident when we look at it. Let's bring up that velocity signature, and where those reds and greens are coming together. Man, there's some strong winds in there, if nothing else. Extremely strong winds. And even Pasodum, you guys are getting some of those stronger winds too, starting to show up. With Jacob's shot there, it looked like maybe it had just barely lifted there, but that thing could come back down pretty quick. So it's one of those things you can't go, oh, well, it's gone, because it will drop in just a matter of seconds. Even in this kind of scenario here. So you got to treat this as the real deal here, folks. We're going to try to get another view from Jacob here as he tries to stay ahead of this storm. I take it you're probably going towards Philo. Is that right, Jacob?
Kevin, I wanted to cut out around from Tolono. I didn't want to get through town and caught up here. So I'm 1 mile to the east of Tolono heading south. I'm going to pass by the Unity High School here in a second and continue working south towards Pasodum, eventually kind of cutting back towards Broadlands. That's it right there. In front of me, the clouds are moving into that spot. So the rotation is kind of wrapped up in there. Can't tell if anything's down. It may be passing just south of Tolono, but not by much, Kevin. This is a really close call. Very concerned for Tolono and north of Pasodum here, Kevin. The wind also where I'm at, it's actually blowing into it. I thought it was blowing outflow, but I've got wind kind of swirling here a little bit. Now starting to get a little more outflow wind here again, but we're just northeast of Tolono, working our way in. We'll have another report for you here shortly, Kevin. But in addition to the tornado, I would expect some strong winds from this, Kevin. Back to you.
All right, very good. Here we go, folks. This is what we've got. It's 3:42 p.m. We have confirmed tornado that did occur west of Tolono there, Sedoras area. That's diving to the southeast now, crossing 45. Moving through Tolono, now Pasodum area, now anybody along Highway 130 between the Crittenden area and Philo needs to be locked down in your tornado safe spot. Hang out down there until we give you the all clear. I know if you're watching us in Champaign, you're going, whoa. In Urbana, whoa. Savoy, you guys probably got some hail. You've got extremely heavy rainfall. But the rotating part of this storm is near Tolono and the Pasodum area. The rotation locked in right about here, and then that's going to cross there over Highway 130 in the next few minutes. The purple shaded box is the tornado warning that has a confirmed tag with it. It means, yes, this is no longer radar indicated. It means either law enforcement spotter did confirm a tornado. So this is moving to the southeast, approximately at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. If you're watching us in the Broadlands area, if you're watching us in Villa Grove, be paying attention, because this may start to push into the northeastern corner of Douglas County in the next few minutes. And so now we're going to be talking about Villa Grove a little bit more, between Broadlands and the Newman area, Longview. If you're in Longview, I want you guys taking shelter. Rotation is centered a little bit more, trying to come a little bit more between Tolono and Pasodum, and going to be heading there south of Philo. Extremely heavy rainfall and just a wild storm here, and we're really getting some of that. You can see here's the camera here, Neal Street. As you can see here, I'm going to try to show you our camera here in Champaign once again. That's at Memorial Stadium. Obviously coming down, a lot of lightning with this storm too. Can barely see, kind of make anything out. Our camera here at the studio also giving us limited views because of the really heavy rainfall. Back to the radar here to show you the biggest area of concern. Weather Service is talking about how maybe some of the rotation trying to broaden, which is good news. We want that. But we're getting reports of some really high winds in Pasodum, and that does track with what we've got here on radar. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom into Pasodum, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like on radar. And we look at the velocity scan. That shows us the winds within the storm. When I switch that over, you're going to see a pocket of some really bright colors right there near Pasodum. That right there is going to be some really intense winds. I wouldn't be surprised if we had that. And also, it looks like there's some strong winds that are trying to happen there, even still back towards Savoy too. And that might be kind of heading there towards Philo. So some strong winds there. Savoy. Is that right over Willard? I mean, it would be right over Willard. So we might get a wind report from the folks there. before too long. But these are some really strong winds here, folks. So be taking shelter. We're still treating this. Okay, so they have taken this back to a regular tornado warning. So basically what I mean by that is before it was a confirmed tornado, so they can kind of bounce back and forth between, where we think on the radar it's showing it, and then, when we did have that confirmation. So, and we're now back to this kind of red box, which is still not to be taken lightly. Still that potential is there as this thing could spin up once again. Jacob had the view of, all right, Jacob, go ahead. Jacob, what do you got?
Hey, the wind is really picking up here. It's hard to see, but we're getting some 60-mile-per-hour winds here blasting across the road in front of me. I'm moving back east now, trying to stay ahead of this, but definitely getting that strong wind here with the storm is moving on through. And the rain is torrential, too. This is putting down a lot of rain in a short period of time, Kevin. Back to you.
All right, yeah, be careful of the roads there and the hydroplaning there on those roads. I've done it before out there myself. So always the thing that we have to worry about is just when there's that heavy rainfall, just be careful out there. Of course, you're staying just ahead of it. There's some really strong winds here. As I look at it, I'm trying to find, some more specific areas of rotation, but I got to tell you, Villa Grove, I just want you guys to be paying attention. Longview, be paying attention here. I think Villa Grove, you guys might get hit by that pocket of strong winds that just kind of came through Pasodum. So they probably had some really strong winds that just hit there. That may be heading towards Villa Grove now. There's another pocket of those stronger winds that I think that Jacob was just kind of going through between Willard and between the airport there and Philo, where his location was. So I think that there are definite, several areas there where you could have some 60 and 70 mile an hour winds. So this was Jacob's kind of position there, as you can see. And that's his little spotter icon as to where he is located. And you can see he's kind of in between where some really strong winds are. So you've got a little pocket there now that is going to be coming there between Villa Grove and actually the Camargo area. And then there's this other little pocket of winds over Willard Airport and heading towards the Philo and Sydney area that we're seeing an extremely heavy rainfall. This is a high precipitation supercell. This thing is just dumping the rainfall. It's got some hail located within it, and then it's trying to ramp up and spin a little rotation also within the storm. So the tornado warning does continue for Champaign and Douglas County until 4:15 p.m. Tornado warning does continue. We're getting some of those signs of rotation still showing up kind of in that little notched area, kind of where Jacob is located. So this is going to be crossing 130 between Villa Grove and Philo, where I think some of the best rotation is. And let me just draw it for you. I'll put the little icon on where I think some of the best rotation is. I think it's going to be right tucked in here and going to be on 130 in the next few minutes or so, where that little area, that little notch occurs, this area here. And so basically what I can do, I can kind of draw it for you so you can get an idea. So here we go. So essentially what you have is this area that kind of wraps up into here. All right. And that's called the inflow of the storm. And then you get on the back side here, and this is where this whole thing is sort of rotating. So that's where Jacob is. Here is your extremely heavy rain. Tolono, Philo, St. Joe, you're getting the heavy rain. Ogden. This is the high precipitation part of this supercell. Then you get down here, and that's where you get a little bit of that rotation. So Villa Grove, Longview, Broadlands, you are in that tornado warning right now. Tornado warning continues. Southeastern Champaign County, northeastern Douglas County. Fast-moving storm moving to the southeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. We'll see if they carry this warning any further to the south and east into, Edgar County at all. We'll have to watch that. Newman, you're right on the edge of the tornado warning with this. As you can see, heavy rainfall. Locally, some localized flooding may occur because of just how heavy this rain is. Here's the movement of this to the southeast. So you can kind of get an idea of where the storm's going. Diving southeast, if you're watching in Edgar County, I'd be paying attention, maybe southwest corner of Vermilion County, northeast corner of Douglas County. Really be keeping an eye on that. But the tornado warning does continue. Villa Grove, I think that is going to be really close to you now. just a whole pocket of really strong winds there. Tolono, Philo, Sydney. As I look at this on radar and we show that velocity again, what you're going to see is a bunch of these bright colors that are all now a little bit different than what we had earlier, where you kind of had the leading edge, where you had the pocket of winds. And now it's like that whole area is seeing some 60-mile-an-hour winds maybe there between Tolono, Philo, and Sydney. And I think that's, again, kind of the area Jacob was located. But all those kind of bright green colors are showing those strong winds. Still seeing some rotation in that right where Jacob is. He is tucked right in the little notch of this thing. And if there would be something there, that is the general location of where he's at. Jacob, are you okay to give any report? Or you tell me, bud, whenever you're okay to do something. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin. So, yeah. And if you can help me kind of, you're coming to me, watch my camera as well to let me know which one's looking, because I'm white knuckling here. The rain is just blowing sideways. Earlier, it was trying to put down some of that corn that was standing. So I'm a little worried for some of the farmers and what this wind may do here. Just driving rain currents going from north to south here as well. So you were trying to sneak into that gap. I'm going to be now between Pasodum and 130. 130 is a mile to my east, and I'm on 200 North Road, 1 mile west of 130. If you take this road, it takes you into Pasodum by the railroad tracks there. It's a pretty smooth blacktop. But as I'm working my way through, Kevin, we're trying to stay ahead here, but it is moving so fast and at such an angle, it's hard to keep up. Watch as I turn the corner here. These rain curtains that are just hollowing as they move from north to south here in front of me. Just a lot of wind with this storm. That's probably what more people are going to experience. But you're right. I do have concerns of where this is surging to potentially still deal with potential tornado here, Kevin. So we'll keep working our way, but eventually we're probably going to call off and go back and see if there's any damage, because it's just getting too fast, too far ahead of me at this point. But we'll keep you updated on anything we hear. Live in the Storm Tracker, I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Back to you.
All right, so I will say this: I'm getting all kinds of reports of power lines down, wires down on Maple Park Drive in Champaign. There's actually even a water rescue going on Prospect Avenue. I'm seeing wires down in Michigan Avenue, wires down on Main Street in Urbana, wires down in Pasodum along Elm Street. Those are just some of the ones I'm just starting to see here. So a lot of power lines down. And Will, we've got Will Simmons here with us here as well. And Will, you're starting to get some reports too of some other things going on. Will, what do you?
Yeah, a little bit of good news possibly here, Kevin. We are getting reports of no power outages in Tolono. So as far as we know, everybody has their power in Tolono right now, and one person may be without power in Sedoras. So,
okay, very good. So we'll be continuing to track down any of those reports. So they did issue a severe thunderstorm warning down the line here. They didn't carry the tornado warning further to the southeast. So they've opted with the severe thunderstorm warning for Seidel, for Chrisman, Edgar County area, Brockton. Okay, this is still an area where we have to watch, because they've got what's known as the tornado possible tag associated with this. Tornado possible is not as imminent as it was 15 to 20 minutes ago, but that could still ramp up. Okay, so that's why we are concerned. Here's the thing: even if there's not a tornado, there's some really strong winds in here, folks, and it's down in power lines. I think the Broadlands area, you're next. Homer, Sydney areas, you just are having that storm come through as we speak. But I think Broadlands and Longview and Allerton, you're the three next towns to get hit. Villa Grove, it's on top of you. And even kind of Camargo, you're also seeing some of those stronger winds and rain starting to move in. But my biggest concern is going to be Longview, Broadlands, Allerton. Longview, Broadlands, and the Allerton area for this storm. So the Weather Service says the tornado risk has continued to diminish over the last couple of scans. May not be rooted at the surface anymore due to that outflow boundary that we kind of talked about. That outflow boundary did everything. It literally was the culprit. It was the instigator behind why this storm got as strong as it did, as quick as it did. And we watched it happen live on Jacob's camera as that storm really started going gangbusters there into Piatt County, sitting right on that outflow boundary that we talk so many times that can often enhance low-level rotation on a storm. It's almost just this little mini cold front, this little mini shift in the winds, and it spun up. We'll have to go back and try to see exactly where the confirmed tornado came from, but they did, this did once go as a confirmed tornado from the National Weather Service. We'll have to go back and kind of sift through some of the specific reports on that. But the tornado warning here does continue for southeastern Champaign County and for the northeastern corner of Douglas County, at least over the next 20 minutes or so. Right now, I'm not seeing as intense signs of rotation as we once did, but there are still really strong winds. And that whole, anywhere that green color that you're seeing there, those are some really intense winds associated with the storm there. Damaging straight line winds. You probably got 60-mile-an-hour winds in that. We've already had reports of some power lines down. We'll be checking reports from any of our folks here, letting us know, what they have seen here in the chat. Getting some strong wind reports in Villa Grove. And in Villa Grove there. So Jacob's in Villa Grove now. Jacob, so you have traveled there south there along 130. And what are you seeing there?
Yeah, Kevin, based on where I'm at, it's actually not as dark as it was before. That's just a visual observation. I do have a patch of clearing to my south and east. There's not as much structure visible, but there still is a decent amount of rain. I think the strongest wind is to my north here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and cut down to 36 towards Camargo, get over towards Murdoch and Newman, just to give us some wiggle room with this here. And if I can get far enough south, maybe I got a chance to get back ahead of it here. But we're going to watch this storm as it moves on through. If I take a left, I go back to Longview. Now I'm kind of by the Rick's Country Market, the Circle K here in town. Rain coming down. The wind was more impressive to me north of town. The lights are still on here, but boy, this storm is going to be causing some issues still as it continues to move to the east. It is an impressive storm, Kevin. I've been really impressed by what the storm has been doing. Putting a few limbs down and some small pockets of flooding in the streets here because it's torrential rain. But right now, Villa Grove, I think the worst of the wind is now north of you. I think it's going towards Longview and knocking on the door of Broadlands. And even though, Kevin, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, I think Edgar and southern Vermilion County can still get some pretty intense wind damage out of this based on what I experienced earlier. So we could see some trees and power lines reports heading towards Sidell, Chrisman, Georgetown, Ridge Farm, places like that. I'll get south here to 36 and get moving east, Kevin. And that'll be my plan for now, unless you guys divert me somewhere else if we hear of any more substantial damage. Live in the Storm Tracker in Villa Grove, I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Back to you.
Okay, sounds good. I will say that we are starting to get in more kind of power outage reports. And right near Whiteheath, it looks like and this completely makes sense when the storm came through earlier, the Whiteheath and Lodge area looks like there's might be 1,000 customers without power over there, according to Ameren, when this storm came through a little bit earlier. So Whiteheath and Lodge, right when we were talking about that storm really ramping up, that's where we have power outages. So that might have been where we could have had a tornado, or if nothing else, some really strong winds, but it does look like significant power outages over in Piatt County right now. Just kind of looking at the Ameren map there. Sporadic power outages showing up also in Sedoris right now. Sedoris power outages. Looks like a few, also maybe just a handful in Pasodum, not as many, but definitely the most that we are seeing right now is in the Whiteheath, Lodge areas of Piatt County, basically just northeast of Monticello. D-Lane area has a handful, but I really think that the Lodge and Whiteheath area got hit the hardest when it comes to either a potential tornado or those really strong damaging winds that came through. But this storm now still taking on a little bit of an orientation that has us concerned a little bit into northeastern Douglas County, northeast of Camargo. There's Murdoch, there's Newman, the Broadlands area. You guys are just getting hammered right now with probably that heavy rainfall. Homer over to Philo, seeing those really strong winds. Getting more reports of wires down in Sedoris, wires down on Fairlawn Drive in Urbana. No surprise with the kind of winds that we were seeing within the storm. This is just a classic, very large, high precipitation, just monstrous supercell storm that on the south side has got that little hook. Okay, you've got this little area where you might have some of the rotation on it. All right, folks, let's do a little bit of a recap here. Top of the hour. We are 4 p.m. We are live, bringing you severe weather coverage here in WCIA. I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy. On the bottom of your screen there, just below me, is meteorologist Jacob Dickey, as always, in the storm tracker, giving you the live views of the storm to let you know what's going on. We track this thing basically from its start, the evolution of it there southeast of Hayworth, as it ramped up, as it moved into DeWitt County, and eventually into Piatt County. The storm now is in extreme southeastern Champaign County, and that's where that rotation is still located, albeit weaker than what it was 20 to 25 minutes ago, but there's still something there. We're watching things there near the Newman area. Heavy rainfall, hail, and damaging straight line winds have been reported from this. That storm also now starting to come into the Danville area. Oakwood, you're seeing kind of the strong winds there too, but not as much of a concern for tornadoes there in Vermilion County as we are with this kind of southern edge. You can kind of see that classic hook that we often get right down there, almost kind of where Jacob is. He's going to try to get ahead of it. I'm going to guess he's going to get on 36 there, try to scoot ahead of it. Maybe he gets towards the Newman area and then maybe just barely gets ahead of it. So he's in Camargo right now. So he's going to get on 36 there and he's going to shoot east and he's going to try to get ahead of this and then see if this does anything as it comes into Edgar County there, the Hume area, Metcalf, as this kind of dives to the south and east. So we'll see how that works out. Plays out over the next half an hour or so. Right now, just to give everybody else another perspective, there's not a lot going on in other parts of the area. It's one storm, but this storm is huge in terms of its size. So you don't have anything to worry about if you're in Effingham or Charleston or Shelbyville or Pana or Taylorville or Decatur or Clinton. You're done now. This is a southeast Champaign County, more of a northeastern Douglas County, Vermilion, and Edgar County storm. Those are the areas that we're watching. Just want to keep an eye on this here as Jacob tries to get ahead of this thing, just to see if this thing kind of ramps up again. There was a clear intensification of this storm when it kind of got going there near just kind of south of D-Land, the Whiteheath area and Lodge, where we think that those storms really kind of kicked up a little bit. But this one here hopefully is getting off of what is known as the outflow boundary, which helped to enhance the storm a little bit earlier. I'm not completely convinced just yet. This still has, some of those characteristics that make me go, all right, we're gonna hold off on giving any kind of a, all clear on anything just yet. Because what we have is the classic little, all right, here's a little notch, boom, right in here. Here's your inflow kind of coming in, wraps into the storm, right? And backside here, this, the rear flank downdraft, and you get a little bit of this rotation that occurs. And that's where something might be tucked in there between Murdoch and Newman, and maybe along Highway 36, if there would be anything in there. Jacob's going to try to reposition to try to get ahead of this here just barely to see if there's anything still left in this. I'm not seeing the same sense of rotation I had earlier, but I got to tell you, the Broadlands area, I know you guys are getting just hammered right now with those winds. Really strong winds probably coming into the Broadlands area, or you probably have already had it. Longview, heavy rainfall. Just look at that really extreme torrential downpours of rain. And then we haven't talked a ton about it, but the lightning. Look at the lightning strikes all over this storm. We're getting the lightning reports that are just constant. If you guys are hearing any reports and have any pictures, I'll say this too. So we are hearing about an overturned box truck maybe on I-72 over near Whiteheath when the storm came through. So here's where you guys can help us out too if you have any reports. Obviously, wait until it's safe to do so. But Whiteheath, Lodge area, Piatt County. This is a call to action for you guys. Let us know what you may have seen. Any pictures? If you've had any confirmed reports, something you've seen, videos of anything of the storm, the aftermath, power lines down, trees down. If you know of anything, you can shoot us an email, and that email address is news@wcia.com, news@wcia.com. If you have any reports, pictures, or anything, our staff here will go through those and then kind of pass those along, and then we'll share those with the folks there. But we're just starting to get some of the reports. We talked about the power outages in Whiteheath and Lodge, the overturned box truck there possibly near Whiteheath, lots of power lines down, confirmed in Champaign and Urbana. But we know there are other areas of power outages in Sedoras. We are monitoring your feed also in our chat, several thousand of you that are watching on our live stream here this afternoon. And we are watching to kind of see what you guys are telling us here. We're hearing about maybe even some power out in the Oakwood area, in Fairmount as well. Let me just kind of scroll through back some of the other chats. A lot of the quote was from Michaela, who's watching here. She says, an insane amount of wind in the Newman area. High winds in Newman also confirmed by Carol. So it's safe to say, I think Newman, you guys are getting hit really hard by those winds right now. Allerton, Tiffany's over in Allerton. She says that really strong winds in Allerton there. Okay, so thank you to you guys for your reports. Just kind of reading through some of these here. Thank you, guys. Power is out in parts of Sydney. So here we go. Here is the storm. Jacob is in the Murdoch area. He's almost out. He's still in that heavy rain pocket. He's trying to get ahead of it there on 36 there near Newman, west of Newman, where that rain kind of lets up a little bit. But that it may pick back up when that northern surge tries to come in. But we'll see if he can get kind of get ahead of it or not. But boy, I got to tell you, this thing is an impressive looking cell. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it stretches from Danville and then it kind of wraps its way back through Fairmount and then kind of cuts down into southeastern portions of Champaign County, Broadlands, Homer area, Jamaica, Sidell. You guys are just getting hammered right now, and now into Newman and Camargo. You get a report of some tree limbs down. Large tree snapped in Camargo, too. That happened just in the last few minutes. So a large tree down in Camargo. But just how large that whole system is. So you've got essentially on the kind of northern side of this is a lot of heavy rainfall. This is, some hail. That is what all of that is right there. Then we look down here. And this is where we've had some of that rotation, and we're just kind of keeping an eye on. The good news is the Weather Service has not carried this further as far as a tornado warning goes into Edgar County, just severe thunderstorm warning. But I still think there are some really strong winds there in Newman. I think Newman's getting hit pretty hard with the strong winds right now. I would not be surprised if we start hearing about power outages there, maybe in the Newman area as that storm begins to move in. And we're getting some of those reports from our folks there. So again, it's 4:07 p.m. We're tracking severe weather. Those that are watching in other parts of our viewing area, all is calm. Champaign, you are in the clear. Urbana, you are in the clear. St. Joe, you are in the clear. So Tolono, Pasodum, same for you. No issues as the storm has passed through. So you guys obviously can come out of shelter if you haven't already, but you're good. This storm is now in extreme southeastern Champaign County into Vermilion County, northeastern Douglas, and heading into northwestern Edgar County. Jacob is just trying to get ahead of the storm there. I think I was maybe even hearing a little bit of maybe some hail hitting the storm tracker out there. Hearing about power flickering in Newman, power out in Sidell. Murdoch has flickering power. Newman said it's all for right now, just have the power out briefly. Jacob, you are there east of Murdoch on 36. Looks like you're behind some traffic there. Tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, Kevin, we're moving east on 36. We're about 2 to 3 miles west of town here. Before long, we'll hit the old factory. One thing I've noticed is that the cloud-to-ground lightning has actually increased a little bit. That's something we look for when things are strengthening. The other thing is I'm kind of in the rear flank downdraft, and there's been some hefty bursts of wind from my left to right, and that'd be on the back side where maybe the circulation still is here. So I'm going to watch it closely. It's a little hard to get through here. Folks are, of course, driving slow on the highway here. We'd like to be able to get through, but just not safe to do so. And so, with heavy rain and a little bit of hail coming down here, we'll continue to be into the Newman area. We're going to be at the about a half mile from the road that takes you south to Oakland, and getting a little bit of hail as well. Have not seen any wind damage per se as of yet. Not that I've had an opportunity to, but I just have a feeling that there's probably going to be some here in Newman and over towards Hume, and especially just north of me, Broadlands and Sidell and Indianola with the wind that's up that way. Kind of looking here, some of these houses, lights are still on. The corn looks like it's taking a little bit of a hit, Kevin, and the wind and rain really picking up even more now here. So My suspicion is when I get to Newman, I'm probably going to have to stop, Kevin, and probably just watch the storm pass to my east. It's going to be hard, but a little bit concerned for Newman still with that wind and Broadland Sidell area. We'll keep you updated as we can. In the storm tracker just by Newman, I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Back to you.
Yeah, when we look at the radar signature there, Newman, I mean, it does look pretty impressive in terms of probably some of those winds that have just kind of come through. So I think you're going right into where those winds have been really strong, right there on 36, almost kind of where you are. I think maybe just ahead of you is where some of those strong winds would have passed through. So just kind of be careful there. But it's going through as we speak. Heavy rainfall. And that whole area now from Hume up to Georgetown Ridge Farm, you guys are kind of next. This thing's just knocking on your doorstep. There's a whole pocket of strong winds. Broadland, Sidell, Ridge Farm coming into your area north of Hume and just kind of passing through the Newman area. There are still some signs of a little bit of rotation there, maybe just kind of near the Newman area, maybe just barely southeast and just east of town. Still some of those signs of the rotation with this, although the tornado warning itself looks like it has, let me just double check. Okay, no, the storm is just kind of moving out of the tornado warning box, but it is still with a severe thunderstorm warning known as the tornado possible tag. So no longer a tornado warning here in Champaign County. And it looks like also parts of the Douglas County area. But I got to tell you, there are still some extremely strong winds in here. Okay. Storm is in Ridge Farm. Reading some of your comments here, even saying in the Hinesboro area also starting to get some of those strong winds. So you see the storm kind of what we call back building a little bit there, southeast of Tuscola, the Hugo area. There's not a lot else going on in other parts of the region. This is northeast Douglas County, Edgar County, and Vermilion County now. If you're in Chrisman, you're next. Ridge Farm, really strong winds that are literally right there on top of you guys. Danville, things calming down a little bit there, exception maybe there towards Westville, still storming pretty good. But the Georgetown area and Ridge Farm, probably going to see those strong winds, but we're still just watching there between Newman and Brockton for some of that rotation on our storm. According to the National Weather Service in Lincoln, again, they've had the expiration of the tornado warning in Champaign and Douglas County, which is some good news there. Hopefully we don't have to ramp this up and kick it up. This all occurred in a real fast sort of sequence of events that all stemmed from this cell interacting with that outflow boundary over into Piatt County. I'm sure our crews hopefully are gathering some information for us about maybe what happened over in Piatt County, about some of the damage. There's obviously power outages that are over there. Getting reports again, northeast of Tolono, some large tree limbs down at the Tolono East Side Park is what we're hearing when the storm came through the Tolono area, and a lot of various power outages that are just coming into us here. I'm just kind of reading some of some text here that I'm getting from some people. All right. Yeah, those reports still coming in to us here at the studio. Also, if you've got any pictures or videos or any confirmations of damage, you can email us news@wcaa.com to let us know. And I don't know if any folks back there, if we've been able to get any photos from anybody or anything that we can throw up. Okay, cool. So we got our crews back there that are working on some stuff for us at this time. Here we go, folks. Here in just the next minute or so, what's going to happen is the tornado warning will officially have expired the next minute or so for Champaign and Douglas County. So what we're going to do is we're going to transition this back into kind of our regular 4 o'clock newscast here and kind of take a breath here for a second. While the storm is still very intense, our policy again is we'll go on here. We do tornado coverage. We're going to hopefully get maybe a few pictures here for you too before we do that. But what we'll do here is just for the folks in the control room and back there and the producers and whatnot, we will kind of transition back into our regular coverage once there are no more tornado warnings in effect, once that red box goes away, even though it's storming really good in Georgetown and Ridge Farm and Chrisman. Okay. We want you guys to still be paying attention here. We want you guys to be paying attention down here into Edgar County, just in case the storm flares up anymore and we have to cut in again for a tornado warning. But with just the severe thunderstorm warning that is still left here, what we'll do here in just a minute, and if we've got the pictures ready, you guys let me know. I don't know. I see one up there in preview. You give me the thumbs up, thumbs down, all clear or no good. And we can show some of those here before we kind of transition back into the 4 o'clock newscast. If we have to wait, that's fine too. But you guys just kind of let me know in the control room there if we want to do that. Okay. All right. Well, so here's the thing. There are still severe thunderstorm warnings. There are no more tornado warnings. We've got Jacob that's out in the storm tracker. He is going to maybe do some damage assessment if we hear anything else. We've got some crews out here that are obviously, checking things out, making phone calls to see what happened. But it does look like maybe the hardest hit areas stretch from near Whiteheath and Lodge down through, the Tolono areas, and then maybe down here towards, the Broadlands area, Pasodum. That's going to be kind of the line where this storm took, where there might have been a tornado. If nothing else, a lot of wind damage. So we'll take a little break here from this. We'll kick things back over to Will as we kick things off here with the first news here at 4 o'clock. Will, over to you.
All right, Kevin. Well, thank you for staying on top of that. And we're just going to go ahead and start off with the headlines tonight. Good afternoon and welcome to the first news. I'm Will Simmons in for Amanda. All the children at the Why Not Outdoors building in Chatham are okay. This is after a car crashed into the building this morning. Why Not says a couple lost control of their car and hit the building. The fire department says the car was overturned when they got to the scene. They say the couple were extricated and refused medical attention. There's no structural damage to the building. Only an awning support column needs to be
Okay, folks, here on the live stream, we are back with you here. We're getting ready to go into our main weather segment. I know some of you are watching over there in Edgar County. Again, our policy is, when we're on the air, like we cut in for TV for tornado warnings. Usually do our streaming here for the severe thunderstorm warnings. So we are back with you here, and I'm getting ready to go into my kind of main weather segment. And so we'll talk a little bit more about what is going on with all of this. Again, if you guys have any reports, pictures, anything, you can upload via the WCA3 weather app. I'll also send to news at WCA.com, any of those different things. All right, folks, we're back with you in just a second.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Kevin Lighty.
All right, folks, we are still tracking severe thunderstorms here. Vermilion County, Edgar County, you guys are kind of the lone ones that are left when it comes to the severe weather that we are dealing with here tonight. We still have these severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. If you're watching us in Crispin, well, you guys just got hit pretty good, really strong winds there. And now Paris, Redmond areas also finding the really strong storms that are beginning to move in. So we have had several areas that got hit pretty hard and some tree damage in some spots. What I want to do is I'm going to share with you guys, bear with me for a second. I do have a picture I can show you. A lot of power lines down, and a lot of that because of either a tree that fell into a power line or obviously just the wind's taking it out. This was in Whiteheath. You can see that limb that is on top of the power line over in the Whiteheath area. And that Whiteheath area is one of the spots that really got hit kind of the hardest that we're hearing about in Piatt County. Whiteheath Lodge, it was the area where won't be surprised if they come back and go, yeah, we might have had a little weak tornado that came through over there earlier today. So I want to back it up. I'm just going to back the radar up. Okay. We're going to take you back here. This was 2:59. This was about the point where we said, all right, I think this storm is really starting to kick up. Here it was right there near D-Land. We had that storm. And this was the point where the tornado warning was issued. Okay. And that's that little notch. That's that area there where you can get some enhanced rotation, and it happened right over Whiteheath. Watch the next scan. And right here is where we possibly had that potential tornado. So Whiteheath and near Lodge, and then that storm continued to kind of dive to the south and east. And that's where the strongest part of that storm was. That eventually crossed there, Sedoras to Tolono, and has now made its way all the way down here into southeastern portions of Vermilion County and then now Edgar County. So severe thunderstorm warnings continue. These storms are diving to the southeast, going to be pushing off into Indiana in the next hour. And then the rest of us find a calmer night ahead. Although more storms are in the forecast for tomorrow, more severe weather is going to be possible for tomorrow. Okay. So again, if you are watching us here in Edgar County, really intense storm. We don't have any tornado warnings with it. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings associated with this. Southern portions of Vermilion County, south of Georgetown now. But we think the Crispin area and Paris, you guys are definitely finding some of the strongest parts of these storms. We've got crews that are out to gathering information about storm reports, about damage reports that have come in. If you have any, again, you can upload them to the WCA3 weather app or the news app. Also, you can send us emails, news at WCIA.com. However you guys can get those to us, we would love to be able to share those with our audience. Okay, guys, we're going to have much more coming up in terms of the severe weather potential, how additional storms may fire off for our Wednesday, and we might be doing this all over again tomorrow. That's coming up, so stay with us.